Welcome to Your Financial Pathways. I'm Dan Youngs with HFG Financial Group. Here with me today is Doug Drenth, Financial Advisor. Imagine this scenario. You're driving home from work and you get in an automobile accident. You're unconscious. The hospital is trying to get a hold of somebody to get some important information about you. Maybe are you taking prescription drugs? Who's got your medical power of attorney? Who is that person that they would be getting a hold of? If you're married, more than likely it's your spouse. If you're not, you need to decide who should have that information. But even more importantly, that information needs to be available for that person to quickly grab and get to the hospital. Let me give you another scenario. You're sitting home in the evening watching television with your kids. The phone rings. It's the hospital. Your aged parent has fallen, and the hospital needs important information to treat them properly. Do you know where that information is? Can you quickly go grab that? Can you get that to those doctors? That's what this episode is about. We've put together a list of important documents and subfolders for those that we'd like to go through with you today to share with you what you should have, how you should have it organized, and where you should keep that. Doug, I've given a couple of health-related problems. I'm kind of setting you up here, but what would you think would be one of the first big folder you have, the most important one?
Well, Dan, the most important folder would be our health folder, which would have several subcategories in it. The first one is the prescription drug list. It's very important for the hospital to know exactly what drugs you're taking or your parents are taking when they are admitted to the hospital.
We've all heard stories. And again, you may be a long distance away, something happens, or your parent is down in Florida. If you've got that list, you can fax that down there to that hospital, right. Yep. Like that.
Very important to have. The next thing is a living will. Important for the hospital to know who's in charge if your parent is not able to take care of themselves. The next one would be medical power of attorney. The hospital needs documents in order to treat your parents or yourself if you're not able to.
And folks, those of you that did not catch our episode with Trudy Ludeking, local attorney, we went through some of these legal documents, and the Michigan Medical Power of Attorney basically gives somebody the right to, if you're incapacitated, to say, yeah, we need that surgery, let's sign and do it.
Okay. The next one is health insurance. The hospital is going to want to know who's going to pay for this. You definitely want to have either a copy of their health card or at least the numbers and the name of the health care company that they are using.
And I think people are aware of this, but today health companies don't cover everything. And you got to get pre-approved on a lot of them and have that immediately available.
The last folder is the emergency contacts. If your wife wasn't available, who would you call? Would one of your children be able to get this information to the hospital? It's important to have their names and numbers and how to contact them in case your wife was not able to.
And if you don't have a wife, you're a single guy or a single gal, if something happened to you, what list would people begin to call? And if something happened to me, would my kids, my parents, my best friend, significant other, who it may be, all part of the thinking through process in the event of something tragic happening.
Right. And maybe letting those people know that they're on that list.
Yeah.
And be able to get the information to the hospital and where to find that information.
Okay, good. Let's start moving into some of the other folders that may be as critical, but they may not be quite as critical. Insurance may be the next topic.
Right. You'd want to have insurance papers available that you could easily access. Your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, health insurance, I think we've talked about, but and the agents that you work with, who you would call in case of an emergency, something happened to your house, something happened to your car, you were in an accident, who would you call? You'd want to have those names and phone numbers readily available in a file.
And let's expand and explore that a little bit. Okay, we've got homeowners insurance, auto insurance, then we can throw in there maybe your disability insurance, your long-term care insurance, maybe you've got an umbrella policy, which many agents recommend that people buy today. But why do I need to keep that in a place? Why can't I have it just tossed around? And an example I think of is that last year we had a lot of ice storms, and I know several people who were out of town on vacation. One person in particular, big old tree came down on their roof, big hole, water's pouring in, snow's pouring in. Somebody had to get over there and immediately be able to grab that policy, grab that agent's name, and get an emergency help out there to stop that. Even if I were out of town, and I'll use the example of my wife, something happened in the house, I'm out of town, if she doesn't know where the insurance policy is or who my insurance agent is, what's she going to do?
Right, and that's why it's important to have this filing system with those papers available that anybody could find, or you could explain to whoever was looking for them for you where they were.
And I'll just add in there too, many people carry their life insurance through their employer. That should be in there too. There are certain credit unions that offer life insurance as kind of a side benefit. If you don't have that certificate in there, it may get lost in the shuffle of everything. So again, think these things through, pull it together. Okay, Doug, the third folder, estate information. Now, in a previous episode, we talked about these specific documents and how they operated, what they did, and why they were important to have. But I think we should get into information here about how they should be kept in this folder, and very specifically, what information, what order they should be.
Right, Dan. We have 3 different categories in this estate planning folder. One is durable power of attorney, one is your will, and another one is the estate plan.
So you're saying in the estate planning folder, and actually that's a pretty broad term, but you ought to have a copy if you have a prepaid funeral. If you don't, where you would prefer funeral home to be. Do you have a lot, cemetery lot? Many people do, but they forget to tell their heirs that they do. So where does that show up? Anything that would be related to that kind of end of life type situation. Doug, you and I both know we've experienced this where we've had clients that come in with loved ones that have passed away, and I know mom had a will, but we can't find it, or all we did is find this copy, or oh my word, I know that she's had 2 wills since the one that was written in 1967. Well, if you've got this is where the most current, most accurate, most up-to-date stuff is kept.
Right, and that's why we're talking about the filing system today, what to keep and where to keep it, and who to let know where they can find it.
Stay tuned in the next segment. We will continue with this, and we've got another series of folders we want to go through with you. We'll see you shortly.
With so many questions, isn't it nice to know you can go to one place for the answers? HFG Financial Group has over 40 years combined experience helping singles and families in Southwest Michigan plan their financial future. Whether you're growing, graduating, chasing a lifelong dream, or retiring, stop by our office in Kalamazoo and meet one of our financial advisors today for a free consultation. We can help make you feel confident in your investments. HFG Financial Group, your beacon to a bright future.
Welcome back to Your Financial Pathways. I'm Dan Youngs with HFG Financial Group. Here with me today is Doug Drenth. We have been talking about important documents, and we're going through a list of important documents that you should have, keep, should be readily available, and why you should keep them. And we're going to continue with that, and we're going to use that in stepping and tell you actually how you should go about keeping them. Doug, we've been through 3 folders. Our 4th one, investment information.
Right, Dan. And within that folder, we're going to have several subfolders. The first one is savings accounts. The second one, checking accounts. The third one is investment accounts. Fourth one, safe deposit box. And then important contacts.
Let's start with the back. You can go into a little bit more detail. Important contacts, what are you referring to when you say that?
These would be people like your financial advisor, your banker. If you do most of your banking at a certain bank, have that listed along with phone numbers.
Your attorney could be in there, insurance agents, anybody that you feel that should be contacted in the event that something happened to you, either you passed away or you were incapacitated. Let's go to the front. And I think that a lot of people have their again, papers just kind of spread around, and we've said that several times. So you have a financial advisor, you have 2 or 3 different investment accounts. If you don't keep that information together and something happens to you, stuff gets lost. I can tell a story where I had a client that several years after their parent had passed away, they came in and said, "Boy, I got this notice here. It looks like Mom had a CD at the bank, and I had no clue she had that. It was just a surprise out of the blue." That's not fair to your heirs, the people who are keeping track or will have the responsibility of looking after those things. So let's go through that again. You said investment accounts,
savings accounts,
and that's really, especially if you have multiple banks. And today, with interest rates the way they are, they're getting multiple banks, multiple credit unions, whoever's offering the best deal.
Checking accounts. Another one is a safety deposit box.
Yeah, again, it goes without saying, but if you don't have it, where somebody knows where it is, something could be sitting in a safety deposit box. And something I also want to stick in here is real important. This kind of information, you don't keep this in your safety deposit box, because something happens to you, people need to get at this information.
Right. In this day and age, a lot of banks and brokerage companies are going with paperless statements.
Yep.
And so it's important that your relatives be able to get to those statements.
Or at least know where they need to contact to get that information. And actually, I think in your next folder, we actually talk about passwords and those kinds of things. But I think this might be a good spot for me to segment here into Michigan's unclaimed property. We see this quite often, and actually it falls in this area quite a bit, where people will lose track of things. Life insurance policies. Maybe your parents bought you a life insurance policy when you were quite young. You moved. It didn't quite keep up with you, the forwarding address. All businesses are required after a certain period of time to turn over to the state of Michigan anything that might be considered unclaimed property. And there's a website the state of Michigan has posted, and you can go to our website. We have a link on there that will take you directly to that. You put in your name, and you might be amazed at what you might find. Another great example in that is checks. Let's say that you've got a small refund from an insurance company some point in time, and you fail to cash that check. It's sitting in your wallet, it gets lost. Well, you never cash it. That insurance company needs to turn that over to the state. Payroll, paychecks. I've seen people who have had paychecks from 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago that they didn't cash. That business is required to turn that over. So just a small little hint, go to our website, click to the state of Michigan, and put in your name, and who knows, you might find something there. Sorry about that, Doug. I kind of jumped us off track a little bit, but the last folder that we've got, and I think this is the one We've put it to the last, but I don't know that it's the least important for sure. And there's quite a bit in there, and I think we'll spend a little time on this.
Right. There's some of our most important documents are going to be in this folder. Things that you'll have to go to periodically: birth certificates, Social Security cards, marriage license, titles to vehicles, deeds to your house, important website passwords, credit cards, passports, and other important documents.
All right, let's talk about a couple of those in particular. Credit cards. So why do I want to keep my credit cards? What if you got credit cards in your wallet? You get your wallet stolen or lost. You need some place you can go quickly to and have those credit card numbers that you can make those calls. I don't know how many people lose credit card, they're scrambling. What do I do? What do I call? All right, having that information. You hit on passwords on websites. We also talked earlier about many of these financial institutions are going to paperless. You've got to give people login information to get those accounts, get that info. Okay, Doug, we've gone through all of our suggested folders. We've not talked about where to keep this information. What do you suggest?
Right, Dan, I would suggest a locked, fireproof box that is easily accessible.
Keep it in a closed closet, something like that.
That somebody could easily find with you explaining where it is, and a key or a combination that you can easily get to whoever has to get into this box.
Okay. So let me quickly run through this again. A series of folders with important information: health, insurance, estate documents, banking information, important documents, miscellaneous things. Folks, it's so important to have this information available for emergencies, for non-emergencies, so that you're not scrambling around the house at the last minute when you're applying for a new mortgage. Where did this piece of paper go? Where is this account? Keep this stuff, keep it in a safe place, keep it in a locked box that's fireproof. We recommend that. If you have specific questions about what we've talked about, what folders, the names, as I said, give our office a call. We'll provide you with a list and it can even maybe give you some more information on it. Thank you, Doug Drenth, for joining us. I think this has been great, helpful information. Folks, stay tuned. In our next segment, I will finish my interview with best-selling author, personal business coach, Tony Wroblewski. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
With so many questions, isn't it nice to know you can go to one place for the answers? HFG Financial Group has over 40 years combined experience helping singles and families in Southwest Michigan plan their financial future. Whether you're growing, graduating, chasing a lifelong dream, or retiring, stop by our office in Kalamazoo and meet one of our financial advisors today for a free consultation. We can help make you feel confident in your investments. HFG Financial Group, your beacon to a bright future.
Welcome. Today we have Tony Wroblewski, best-selling author, latest book, Mind Capture. Tony, we've been talking about small business, nonprofits, marketing, promotion, sales, and giving them some ideas as to what they can do today to increase their business. Right now, we look out, we see I've got small business clients. You're speaking to small business owners and nonprofits every day. Let's go and let's try to make this simple. What top 3 things would you suggest they do right now, today?
Okay. I should charge the audience millions for this answer, but I'll do my best.
Trying to figure out how.
We hit on several of these in our last few segments. The first one, bottom line, is what is your commercial? Your personal commercial. Business is done face-to-face. That will not change. The technology keeps changing, radically changing. You look back 5 years ago, Google, most people know what it was. Now it's a household word. But when you meet people each day, do you impress them? Or do they go, well, who is that person? What I'm trying to drive at is, it's the old cliche, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Are you prepared when you meet someone? Chambers of Commerce are a great venue to do this. It's the good old-fashioned networking. There are leads groups. There's groups such as BNI. There's Rotarian groups. There's JCs. And you don't go to those groups such as the nonprofits there to say, here's my card and buy from me. That's the heavy-handed sales pitch that people hate. But when you get to know you better and you build relationships, they'll start to ask you, for example, Dan, so tell me what you do with your business. At that moment in time, that's your chance to shine and market. Most people blow it. For example, I work with lots of insurance professionals. And the insurance professionals, they'll go to a chamber event or a Rotary meeting, and they'll start to get that question asked, and they'll say, well, I work for XYZ Insurance. Have you had a quote on your home and auto policies lately? I can help you save money. What does the person do? Usually they're getting this commercial from, they go, oh no, I'm getting a heavy-handed sales pitch. They grab the insurance person's card, they shake hands, and they run from them because they're scared to death, and it's totally boring. It's the same old, same old. It's different when you make a first impression that is totally different from the industry norms where you just kind of do the same old sales pitch. So how are you going to network and tell your story? What's your commercial, I say? Second thing is referral marketing. Hands down, people have got to do it more. It takes a lot of energy to get a new customer on the books. You've had to fight through I mentioned the attention issue, the time, you've proven your credibility, they've voted with their checkbook, they've spent money with you. At that point, if you're delivering on your promises, you should be asking for introductions. Teach this all over the world. Instead of asking for referrals, ask for introductions. It's less threatening. It's a different form of adjective to describe the same outcome. Here's the good news. Humans at our core are designed to help each other. Proof. You ever get lost driving and you stop at a gas station?
I'm a guy.
Okay, we never admit this, but on television we'll do this. You walk into a gas station and MapQuest lied again, or your TomTom GPS broke, and you got to walk in there with your note, and you ask the clerk, how do I get to Goshen, Indiana? There could be 4 people behind you, and all of a sudden, 4 people, including the clerk, are your best friend. You ever notice that?
Yes, I have.
And they'll like buy a cup of coffee. Well, here's an alternate route. Here's the highway route. And they could be in a hurry, but they all slow down to try to help you. Now, I know that may sound odd, but stay with me. You ask your customers for introductions of people they know. They may say, well, I can't think of anybody right now. But you never know until you ask. And some of your top clients, they'll be like, wait a minute, I'm finally glad that you asked me. Here's 3 people you definitely need to call right now, Dan or Tony. Give them a call and see if you can help them. Because again, people like to help others. If you do a great job in the marketplace, your nonprofit's a good organization, people like to talk about it. It's called storytelling. So the second area is referrals. Third area I tell small business owners to work on is getting your authenticity down. I know we hit on it earlier, but you've got to have proof, or social proof. We call it marketing circles. Maybe it's a video testimonial, maybe it's emails, it's reviews, or it's comments on Facebook about what you do. Save those. Because you never know at what point someone's going to be referred to you, or maybe send you an email inquiring about you and says, well, who else have you worked with? Well, I'm glad you asked. And you email them back several comments that you've pulled off of Facebook. Those are public comments. Okay? Or maybe you've got 3 or 4 great reference letters that clients have written for you. You may email that to someone, or if you're at a chamber event, you may hand out or have it in your briefcase. What's funny, you should ask, here's a reference letter. Now, people say, well, does that really work? Absolutely. What someone else says about you in their form of testimonial is 1,000 times more believable than you. Yeah. Let me repeat that if you're watching. A testimonial, what someone else says about you is 1,000 times more believable than you, because we're trained not to trust salespeople. And again, we're all in sales these days. Let me go off point here a second, but I think it's worth noting. I've seen 3 groups show up the last couple years in my audiences that used to shock me at first. Attorneys. That scared me at first. CPAs. And ministers. And I would ask them the last couple years on the road, what brought you to like a marketing conference or more of a sales thing through the Chamber of Commerce? And the reaction was pretty much the same, regardless if they were an attorney or CPA or minister. They said, Tony, don't be fooled. We have to market and promote ourselves and our businesses. It was fascinating with a lot of the ministers of different faiths. They say, look, I can pray for marketing help, but I need to have some earthly help as well. They realize that everything is competitive. Now, some people may be shocked by what I'm about to say. Religion is a business. Okay? You have to have money to support the ministry, regardless of your faith. And that requires getting people there and showing up and seeing value to tithe or give back. That's marketing 101. Now, a lot of ministers will say, yeah, that is kind of what we do. Okay? But they're passionate about the mission. I'm not judging them. But never be fooled. We're all trying to market our mission.
It's interesting because you talk about churches, and as I walk and talk and speak with people, and you ask them, well, what church are you a part of? And you get really two different answers. You get some people, well, I attend XYZ church. And that's about the end of the conversation.
Correct.
Then I get something, my church is XYZ. Now there's more conversation.
Correct.
They've connected with the church. There's a relationship there. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Folks, thanks Tony for
Pleasure to be
sharing
here.
with us. And folks, I'm going to tell you that if you want more information, no, you need more information. Tony's book, Mind Capture, Amazon.com. You can go to hfgadvisors.com, our website, and we'll have a link to Tony's site there as well. Again, thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, man.
I want to give a special thanks to Tony Robleski for sharing with us his business building ideas over the past 5 episodes. I also want to thank our guests for making this a very successful series. Folks, we've covered a lot of material, and if you have further questions, please give us a call. We want to help however we can. Thank you for joining us on Your Financial Pathways.
With so many questions, isn't it nice to know you can go to one place for the answers? HFG Financial Group has over 40 years combined experience helping singles and families in Southwest Michigan plan their financial future. Whether you're growing, graduating, chasing a lifelong dream, or retiring, stop by our office in Kalamazoo and meet one of our financial advisors today for a free consultation. We can help make you feel confident in your investments. HFG Financial Group, your beacon to a bright future.